Good morning. I'm delighted to welcome you to the launch of the new Trinity College Dublin Strategic Plan 2020 to 2025, Community and Connection. My name is Antoinette Quinn and I'm the Director of Human Resources, and my job this morning is to introduce to you the panel that are going to help us launch the strategy, which is being streamed live this morning due to the COVID-19 virus. The strong theme running through the strategy is that of community and connection, reflecting the reality that in an increasingly interdependent world, the way we work, how we work, and the respect and diversity that everyone brings to the workplace is essential to us in Trinity College Dublin. And I think it's fantastic that this is reflected in our new strategy that will help shape the future of this university going forward. We are one community in Trinity College. Whether it's the wonderful grounds and facilities people who keep the campus looking so well, our award-winning academics and researchers, our dedicated professional services staff, and our alumni and our students, of course. Each and every one of us brings something unique and special to make the university the place it is, and it's by building on these strong bonds and diverse skill sets that we will continue to be successful in the future. We're now going to play a short video, and directly after that, Professor Juergen Barkhoff, Vice Provost and Chief Academic Officer of the University, will give you an overview of the key points contained in the strategy. Thank you.
The world is changing, and so are we. By 2025, Trinity will have begun its stretch eastwards into a second campus which will sit at the heart of the Grand Canal Innovation District. Westwards, a new cancer institute will be starting to take shape. And in the centre of our main campus, a new research collection study centre will be taking form in the old library. Over the next 5 years, our research will increasingly focus on the challenges that our planet faces. Our new E3 Learning Foundry will have been built, to be joined in time by the E3 Research Institute. Here, Trinity students and researchers, in collaboration with national and international partners, will focus on engineering, the environment, and emerging technologies to find balanced solutions for a better world. This new strategic plan will ensure that Trinity continues to play a key role in Ireland's success as an innovative knowledge society. As a community, we will connect within, to the world, and to future generations.
At Trinity, we place research at the heart of what we do. We pursue transformative research at the frontiers and intersections of disciplines to tackle the big challenges of our day. Over the next 5 years, we will increase the number of postgraduate students, and we will renew our postgraduate education, just as we did with the undergraduate education, developing new programs and improving dedicated postgraduate spaces. We will take on more academic staff to foster and enhance our research excellence and to harness our collective expertise for the benefit of society and the world.
At the heart of our community are our students. Our increasingly diverse student population will inhabit campuses that will better cater for their needs and where they will mix, learn, and conduct research in new ways. We will challenge our students to be inquisitive, pioneering, and collaborative. They will acquire our 4 graduate attributes: to think independently, to communicate effectively, to develop continuously, and to act responsibly. Their time in Trinity will be a truly transformative one, enabling them to be active citizens who will leave their mark in a changing world. Under our new strategy, we will invest in the staffing, infrastructure, and processes necessary to ensure Trinity continues to be a pioneer in education, research, and innovation.
At the core of our new strategy is the concept of a One Trinity community, a community that we all feel proud of, where we are fully valued and heard, a Trinity of inclusivity, equality, and mutual respect, a community that is globally connected through our national and international partnerships and fosters a strong sense of belonging among students, staff, and alumni. We will promote societal responsibility, embedding and enabling civic action in the student experience, in our teaching, our research, and our culture.
Trinity has a gloriously colourful past. It is the vast well we draw from and which every generation deepens and refills. This generation has a plan, a strategy for Trinity's future. It's a plan that suits our times and the times to come. We are connected, all of us right across the globe, and to the future generations to whom we will leave this planet. As a world-class university, we prepare our students for this fast-changing world. Trinity's vision is to be a globally connected community of learning, of research and scholarship, inspiring generations to create the best possible future. Like so many others, I am proud to be part of the Trinity community that will now make this strategy real and write the next chapter of Trinity's history.
Good morning, everybody. The launch of a new strategic plan, setting out the plans and ambitions of the university for the next 5 years to the college community and to our friends, collaborators and partners, is a momentous occasion in the life of the institution. Moreover, the process of writing a new strategic plan, of agreeing its objectives and actions, is an important opportunity for the college community to reflect on who we are, how we define our common sense of purpose, and how we reinterpret our role in society as Ireland's leading university and research institution. It allows us to decide afresh how we are going to meet the challenges that we see, how we intend to grasp and maximize the opportunities that present to us, and how best we will serve, over the next 5 years, our students, Irish society, and the world. Drawing up a new strategy is a year-long process, led by the Vice Provost and his office, building on initiatives, strategies, and business plans already approved and underway, and involving the whole college community. This is one of the reasons why we have given this strategic plan the title Community and Connection. With it, the Trinity community charts the way of living up to our responsibilities in the ever more connected world of the 21st century. This is expressed in our vision. We are a globally connected community of learning, research, and scholarship, inspiring generations to meet the challenges of the future. This vision is unfolded in our core mission, which articulates our ambitions in the 4 core fields of activities: civic action, organization, research, and education. Civic action. Our ultimate commitment as a university is to foster a pluralistic, just, and sustainable society. This commitment was already present in our previous strategic plan, and it rightly carries over, as this fundamental has not changed. The way we encourage and empower our students and our staff to civic action that furthers these ideals is through our core activities of teaching, research, and public engagement. Organization. The importance of all members of our diverse community is very much present in the way we want to shape our organization over the next 5 years, undertaking particular efforts to making it more effective for the benefit of all, and also more responsive internally and externally to expectations, developments, and shifting priorities, while staying true to our core and our values. Research. In our research mission, we emphasize the focus on benefit and impact. This applies to all domains of knowledge in the sciences, the social sciences, and the arts and humanities, and equally to all forms of knowledge creation and innovation on the continuum between blue sky and applied. We also emphasize that transformative research happens both at the frontiers and intersections of subject domains. The great challenges of our time, be they climate change, mobility and migration, data security, or global health threats such as the COVID-19 outbreak, do not respect disciplinary boundaries and can only be addressed in bringing the necessary expertise together across all disciplines. Our education mission, the central obligation of preparing the next generation with the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary for engaged and successful lives in the 21st century, is articulated in this new strategic plan by citing our 4 graduate attributes that every student of Trinity shall possess upon graduation. Their roots lie in the knowledge revolutions of the Renaissance, when our university was founded, and the Enlightenment, when graduates like Edmund Burke, Oliver Goldsmith, or Jonathan Swift embodied them. Today, in the 3rd decade of the 21st century, half of which this plan covers, they are more relevant and essential than ever before. This core mission is as complex as it is ambitious, and in 5 years we want to be measured by how well and how effective we have transformed these aspirations into concrete actions that have made a difference. The 4 elements of our core mission are deeply interconnected. Most of our concrete goals and actions impact on more than one, and very often on all 4. To put flesh on this core mission, we have identified 9 cross-cutting goals that set our priorities and will guide and shape our strategic thinking, initiatives, investments, and interventions over the next 5 years. This plan contains a total of 116 concrete actions. I will briefly highlight the most important of those, the central nuts and bolts of our new strategy. Goal 1. We will foster an ever more diverse and inclusive student community. Trinity is committed to a policy of managed and resourced growth in student numbers. By 2025, our student body will be approximately 21,500 students, up from the current 18,500. As the college community increases, its diversity grows. We will intensify the pursuit for greater equity of access across the social spectrum in Ireland by strengthening our Trinity Access program. By 2025, 25% of our undergraduates will come from underrepresented groups. At the same time, commensurate with our obligations as Ireland's leading research university, we will grow the number of postgraduates to about 1/3 of our students. We will increase diversity on campus in every sense, because we firmly believe that the knowledge society of the future must draw on the best talent from everywhere. We also believe that learning is made richer when the voices heard around the campus speak in many idioms. To underpin this increased diversity, we will make equality, diversity, and inclusion a cornerstone of our ethos and practice across all aspects of college life by instituting a robust equality, diversity, and inclusion strategy and action plan. Goal 2. We will support a transformative student experience. Teaching and learning in Trinity is research-led at all levels, and students are enabled to develop their research skills and encouraged to drive their own research agenda. To ensure that the learning experience of Trinity students continues to be based on close interaction with their lecturers and their research, we are committed to improving the staff-to-student ratio from its current high levels of 18:1 to 16:1. This major investment in staffing will require sustained effort and creativity, mobilizing a variety of funding sources, including philanthropic support, but we will spare no effort to maintaining and improving the quality of the student experience despite demographic changes. To play our part in addressing the student housing crisis, we will invest in building over the lifetime of this strategic plan a minimum of 600 new student spaces here on campus and in Trinity Hall in Dartry, the majority of which will be more affordable. And being mindful that a more diverse student population requires strengthened student services, we will systematically invest in student supports. Goal 3, we will practice next generation teaching and learning. At undergraduate level, a comprehensive renewal of the Trinity education was developed in the last plan. Over the course of this strategic plan, we will focus on enhancing the experience of our postgraduates by fundamentally re-evaluating and renewing our approach to structures, programs, and pedagogy for both postgraduate taught courses and postgraduate research students. For all students, the emerging challenges of new disruptive technologies to the future of work and learning give an even greater relevance and urgency to the continuous development of teaching and learning strategies. In response to this, we will develop a comprehensive digital learning strategy that will embed blended and online learning in our learning and teaching practices. This will be supported by a major investment to enable this vital culture shift. In a similar vein, we will acknowledge and address the rapidly increasing demand for continuous professional development, modular offerings, and short-term programs. Over the lifetime of this plan, we will develop and deliver strategies and policies on flexible learning and micro-credentialing, catering for a fast-changing world of work. Goal 4. We will stand up for research, its quality and impact. Our reputation as Ireland's leading research institution flows from our firm focus on quality and impact. Over the next few years, we will deliver flagship research initiatives of scale that tackle key societal challenges. One of these will be the establishment of Ireland's first comprehensive cancer institute at our partner hospital, St. James's. As part of a major conservation and redevelopment project of the old library, we will build a new research collection centre on the ground floor of the old library, which will allow staff, students and visiting researchers much better access to the unique collections of our library. Goal 5. We will shape our organisation and focus research around the challenge of achieving a sustainable and healthy planet. Research that tackles the grand challenges of our time is at the heart of our mission. Climate change and sustainability are the foremost and most urgent challenges currently facing the worldwide community. Tackling these challenges will be at the center of our teaching and research and will also inform the way we shape our practices as a community to make life on our campus more sustainable. The Martinocton E3 Learning Foundry, the pioneering building that is rising at the east end of our campus, will house programs linking engineering, the environment and emerging technologies to equip our graduates to be at the forefront of providing sustainable solutions for a better world. A new UN Sustainable Development Goals hub will bring together civically engaged research carried out across the university. And as part of the European Alliance CharmEU, we are developing related interdisciplinary challenge-based study programs for reconciling humanity with the planet. Goal 6, we will enrich and expand our global network. In a world in which connectivity is the new growth, Trinity will grow as a university by becoming ever more connected in an interdependent world. We will increase the number of international students from across the world to approximately 1/3 of our student population. While non-EU student numbers will continue to grow, we will place special emphasis on intensifying our European linkages. And we will engage our global network of alumni and supporters in our philanthropic Inspiring Generations campaign, strengthening ties and sense of belonging across the world. Goal 7, we will develop and inhabit our space responsibly. As stewards of a historic residential campus, we have a responsibility to look after it and maximize its potential in a sustainable manner. Over the next few years, building projects like our new law school or the Martinocton E3 Learning Foundry will significantly enhance our capabilities. Less visible, but positively impacting on the student experience will be our continuous program of improving our teaching and learning spaces. Most significantly, we will launch the master plan for our second campus, Trinity at Grand Canal Quay, including the E3 Research Institute as an integral part of the Grand Canal Innovation District, a once-in-a-generation government-backed innovation project. Goal 8, we will be one Trinity community. The theme of community is deeply written into the fabric of this plan, and it also has its specific goal. The university community in Trinity is driven by shared convictions and ambitions, a strong sense of belonging, and an ethos of collegiality. That is one of our decisive strengths, but we cannot and must not take it for granted. We must nurture and support it across our faculty, schools, and divisions, and we are committed to improve communication, involvement, and recognition across the whole university community, and we will invest significantly and in many forms into staff development, both for academic and professional staff. In the field of gender equality, we are leading in the country with over 30% women among our full professors. We will ensure that by 2025 this number has risen to 40%, and having been the first Irish university to be awarded an Athena Swan Bronze Award in 2015, we will apply for an institutional Athena Swan Silver Award in 2022. Goal 9. Increased diversity, next generation teaching and learning, significant investment in staffing and a reduction in the student-to-staff ratio, big flagship research initiatives in sustainability, cancer, and in the humanities. These are the headline ambitions spelled out in our new plan. And there is so much more in the 116 discrete actions that make up the totality of the plan. I encourage you to peruse them to find your favorites. Overall, these are bold and ambitious plans, but they are, we believe, the right ones and the necessary ones to seize the day and meet the challenges that lie ahead of us. They will require considerable investment. This is where our final goal comes in. We will secure the financial basis for our future development. All elements of this plan have been carefully costed, and we have plans in place to finance them. We have developed a monitoring tool that will closely track how our strategies and actions become a reality. Of course, circumstances are changing. When this plan was approved in November, nobody had heard of COVID-19. This makes close monitoring as an ongoing practice and flexibility and adaptability in the implementation of this plan so important. The board of Trinity College approved this strategic plan on the 27th November 2019, and it came into force on the 1st of January 2020. The board, as the governing body of the university, is also responsible for seeing it through. In closing, I want to pay tribute and thank a number of people. First and foremost, I would like to thank the previous Vice Provost, Professor Chris Morash, who spearheaded the strategic planning process until the changeover in the Vice Provost's office in July. He led the intensive cross-college consultations, is the chief architect and principal author of this plan, though it evolved and developed further in the period from July to November. I also want to thank the team in the Vice Provost's office, Shemaine Cleary, Orla McCarthy and Michael Slevin, whose formidable work was instrumental at every stage of this complex process. Finally, and most importantly, I want to thank the many members across college and the many external stakeholders who had vital input into this document by taking part in the strategic planning steering group or the various focus groups, workshops and other consultation fora. The college community has been centrally involved in designing the plan. It will be equally instrumental in making it a reality. We are ready.
Okay. Thank you, Juergen. Our next speaker is Laura Beston. Laura is a native of Claremorris, County Clare, and is the president of the Students' Union. She has been an active member of the college community for a number of years, firstly as member of the welfare team up in Trinity Halls in 2016 to 2017, first student representative on the AHEAD Fund for Students with Disabilities in 2018-2019, secretary of the Dublin University Film in 2018, and a regular guest of Trinity FM's, what I'm told is the best sports show called The Dugout. Laura Beston, please.
It is a privilege to be here today to assist in launching Trinity College Dublin's strategic plan. For over a year, I, alongside many other student representatives, have been lucky to be involved in a process of feedback and input that formed the plan that we have today. As key stakeholders in this university and in higher education overall, it is important that students get an opportunity to engage in the planning of the college's future. The support shown towards tackling the issues that affect students has been phenomenal throughout this process, and the resulting document has been a great example of collegiality between the college and the students it is providing for. We're excited to see a dedication to this level of cooperation and support from both college staff and students in ensuring that Trinity can deliver on such an ambitious and comprehensive plan. In recent years, it has become impossible to ignore the increasing pressures that our students are facing when engaging with higher education. This strategic plan marks a dedicated effort towards providing for students and assisting them in whatever supports they may need along the way to becoming a graduate. As we attempt to foster an ever more diverse student community, it is important that our college can reflect this not only in the students present, but the environment we are also in. With projects like Printing House Square coming to the fore, resulting in an effective health centre and disability service, it is exciting to see what other services will see physical expansion over the course of the 5-year plan. Speaking of disability, the dedication to increasing our student numbers who have come from the Trinity Access Programme or the National Hear and Dare scheme to 18% is inspiring. As a Dare entrant myself, I can only reiterate how important these alternative access routes are. During my time as disability officer in TCDSU, I saw how difficult college can be from a variety of perspectives. Reading this plan and seeing goals such as engage the wider community in empowering students with disabilities makes me proud to be a student here. Many students who come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, have disabilities, come from different countries, or are from a minority background can really struggle when it comes to accessing education, but it can also be the lack of support once they are in education that poses the greatest issue of all. This plan has such a strong focus on increasing access for these students, but also in ensuring that they have the support they need once they're here. A more diverse community contributes to a more diverse and realistic education, and it is very exciting to see Trinity embrace this. With the completion of reforming undergraduate learning, we move into a phase past the Trinity Education Project. This strategic plan outlines and commits to delivering a high standard of teaching, which is essential to the Trinity experience. Trinity education could be seen as the bastion through which we will support a transformative student experience, as well as practicing next generation teaching and learning. The changes which have been made to pave the way for the phase of education will hopefully strengthen the education goals that have been presented in this strategic plan. And when speaking about TEP, it would be foolish to do so without mentioning the graduate attributes. These 4 pillars provide you with an idea as to what a Trinity graduate could become. Students engaging with the new programme of education in Trinity should be leaving with the skills to communicate effectively, develop continuously, think independently, and act responsibly. Through the new methods of teaching and learning which have been implemented under TEP, students will be able to develop these attributes and produce a more rounded and enjoyable and employable graduate. The implementation of the Capstone project has pushed undergraduates to engage with content in a different way. As one of the 9 cross-cutting goals, it is evident that TEP will enable undergraduate students to have an experience closer to the research postgraduate. As postgraduate thought and postgraduate research students will be experiencing a period of reform when it comes to education over the next 5 years, it is obvious that research is a vital part of Trinity's strategic plan. However, when looking at TEP, it is obvious that any reform that takes place under the strategic plan will be to create well-rounded graduates that are able to engage in research, the workplace, or wider society in a multitude of ways. As a result of the university community overlapping in so many aspects of the college, it is imperative to plan in terms of the community we have here. To see Trinity acknowledge our community in the plan is a positive sign for students. We must remind ourselves of our place as stakeholders in our own education and our experience in Trinity. And by engaging with the college at whatever capacity we have as a student, we can ensure that our voices are listened to when they should be. Trinity's dedication to equality, diversity, and inclusion is equally as important as the dedication to supporting the student experience. Watching the college take responsibility not only for the emotional well-being of individuals, but the greater responsibility it has for creating leaders and educators in terms of inclusion demonstrates how important this plan is not only to the students of today, but also to the students of tomorrow. This strategic plan is perhaps the most student-focused in recent times and is a welcome development when placed against the backdrop that is higher education in Ireland at the moment. Trinity is making a concerted effort to look at where students need change, and even though I will be long gone by the time we reach 2025, I'm very excited to see what it will mean to be a student here when that time comes.
Thank you, Laura. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Nora Khaldi. Nora is a Trinity graduate, a mathematician with a PhD in molecular evolution and bioinformatics. Her revolutionary and innovative ideas and inventions have been awarded and recognised by the likes of Forbes, Wired, and the European Union Commission. She's a founder of Nuritas, the first company in the world to introduce artificial intelligence to the food arena, with the aim of creating the future of food and personalised nutrition. In a nutshell, the future of health. Nuritas was recently classified among the 21 most innovative startups in the world, along with Uber. Ladies and gentlemen, Nora Khaldi.
Thank you for the intro. Lovely to be here. So my name is Nora Khaldi. I'm actually an alumni, a Trinity alumni, so I'm super happy to be here. Before I start, I just want to give you a little story when I first came to Trinity for my interview, for my PhD. So I was living in France then, and I came over. I had a few interviews around Europe, and Trinity was the first one. And it was with a lab called the Ken Wolf's lab in the genetics department. So I came over for the interview, and the minute I walked through Trinity, I just fell in love. And I fell in love with Trinity, and I fell in love with the lab. And I remember going home and saying to myself, you know what, I'm going to cancel all my other interviews, because whether the answer is yes or no, I don't care, I'll be back here. I want to work here. And literally I went home and cancelled all my other interviews. I hadn't gotten a yes then, because you have to wait a few days from the interview to the yes. But then I was very fortunate because the email came in and it was a yes. And I started the journey of my PhD. And I remember my boss telling me at that time, he said to me, you know, Nora, you'll be the only girl in the lab. It is an area called bioinformatics, which is computer science applied to biology. And also molecular evolution, so it was very, very theoretical. I dabbed in the blonde phase as well, as you can see in the picture, but it was an extraordinary journey that I had. And then the funny story as well is that we were the only lab in the world on top of a pub. So this really got a lot of attention, especially from the Americans. We literally had a door right into the pub. Now, it was blocked, by the way, just to let you know, so we couldn't go down straight, but Kennedy's was literally our local as well. So it was a great lab, a great learning, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. After Trinity, I went after a lot of different areas, specifically drug discovery. And I created a company called Nuritas, and we're actually just a couple of 100 meters from Trinity, so which is really interesting. So I never really went that far from Trinity, and we started small, as you can see here, and then we went bigger. So we're about 60 people now. We're based on Dawson Street. We're a biotech company. And what we do, just to give you a little bit of background, is that when I first started working in this field, from my PhD into my postdoc and then working with the US, Ireland and the US, I realized that there was a very big issue in the industry. The industry of creating drugs was taking too long. It takes about 15 to 20 years. The cost is gigantic, about 2.5 billion to create a drug. And when I started analyzing the reasons behind that, is it normal? Is that the cost and we just accept the norm? Or can we change it? I realized that the issues are enormous. It literally is random testing. So you try and find something that works. You try and find a molecule that shows you what you want to see. But then as you develop the drug, you realize that it's maybe not stable, that it's not safe, and then you have to start again. And you go for years and you start again. And that's super expensive. So coming from my own background, a data perspective background, because my background is pure mathematics and computational biology, the question was, can we actually solve this? Can we implement computer programs that can actually look at a drug at the very beginning and see whether it has the capability of being stable, of being safe, of being scalable, and all those different issues as you grow and you develop a drug. But doing that at the very beginning on computers before you actually venture into the lab, because labs are very, very expensive. And that's really what we've done. So we've brought together at Nuritas 3 different technologies: proteomics or peptidomics in this specific area, machine learning, and life science in general, lab testing. We have great labs in the city center. And we brought those things together to address that issue of drug development. Drugs take too long. How can we actually create drugs faster? But then what's interesting coming to this talk was, okay, what drove me here? What got me here? How did I create Nuritas? Why me? And how do we create the next generation entrepreneurs? And it's funny to think about that, because I'm always thinking about these things, because I always get, students or high school students or undergrads asking me, what is the secret recipe? So I can't talk about character and I can't talk about genetics of myself. That's separate. But what are the external factors that actually help me as an individual? And I think the one thing that I read recently that actually, resonated with me is that this pitch book piece of research that came out showing that Trinity in the last 5 years has been marked or ranked as the best university in Europe in terms of producing undergraduate entrepreneurs. And that's really remarkable. So what does that have to do with myself? I realized then that there was 3 things that actually got me to where I am today. And a lot of these things happened in Trinity. So one of these things, the first one, which I call basic or fundamental science. Now, this is not a scientific talk I'm going to give you. You can be, working in arts, history, geography, any area, but basic and fundamental way of looking at things is very, very important. I started with that. From my pure maths background into my PhD in Trinity in molecular evolution. We were studying species that went extinct millions of years ago, hundreds of millions of years ago. So there was no application to that science currently. But it was fundamental because it explained how species lived hundreds of millions of years ago. It's seeing the big picture of why things exist, why they are the way they are. And I think that is important for anyone doing anything, whether you're in the arts industry, whether you're, again, in the history industry or whatever industry, starting off with a very important view of the world from a very big background. Why is this important? And looking at the fundamental links between different areas, I think is very important. That's how I started my career. And I think a lot of my thinking, my different thinking that I bring compared to other people I work with and I have worked with, is that fundamental science that I worked with, that theory, that looking at the bigger picture and connecting things that people have not connected before. And I think what Trinity has really successfully done, I think during my period, but specifically after as well, is that for every Trinity graduate, everyone now carries a piece of original research. That's important because I know the everyday thing is important, but when you carry a bit of research that's outside, that looks at the bigger picture, I think it's very important. And even if you don't see the importance there and then, you will see it years later. So I think that one first thing is basic, fundamental view of the world is very important. A lot of grants currently are focused on applied research, which is very interesting. But I think applied research is short-term gain. Basic fundamental research is long-term gain, and I think we shouldn't lose it. So that's basic fundamental science is one. The second thing is applied science. After me looking and working in the fundamental science, I was approached by a consortium here in Ireland, and it was great. But also during my PhD, I worked with a few labs in the US. I was very lucky during, again, my Trinity PhD that we had enough money to send me, or the lab had enough money to send me in different labs in the US, and they had a more concrete, they had a more applied, some of the labs had a more applied view of the world. So they were looking at my area and how can it be applied, for example, to ag economic structures. So for example, a lot of the species I was studying in my PhD created a lot of damage in ag, so billions of material had to be gotten rid of because we couldn't. It wasn't consumable because these species were creating mycotoxins and toxins on these plants. So I saw both areas in my PhD, so the very fundamental and the very applied. And then after my PhD, I got even more applied to a very industry-driven area, understanding what the industry needs specifically and trying to apply my own background to it. And I think that's a really interesting way. And it always goes, for me, it's very important to go from applied to more, or from very fundamental to applied. Very hard to go the opposite way. So I think this applied science actually is more relevant to economic questions and industry, and I think every student has to do it, whether you're in fundamental or other areas. And again, this is not specific for science, it can be for arts, etc., but going from a fundamental view to a very applied view. And then the third one my academic and industry, or academic and industry coming together. And for this specific one, it didn't happen in Ireland for me. It happened in the US. I was working in the US, and I got approached by an entrepreneurship school, and they invited me to come to some of their work. And it was really incredible because it opened the door on understanding what it is, what entrepreneurship is, also what is working in industry, what is industry looking for from an academic perspective. And I think that was the missing thing in Europe in general, in Ireland as well, is that link between academia and industry. A lot of the guys I went to this entrepreneurship school came out saying, you know, my thing now is academia. I really now know that I want to stay in academia. Some of them came out saying, I absolutely want to be an entrepreneur like myself. And some of them came out saying, you know what, I want to work in industry. But at least it kind of gives you an idea of what it is out there. How does it look like? And I think Trinity has done really well recently as well in this area. And I think just those 3 points of fundamental view of a problem and then a more specific view of the problem, followed by actually experience of knowing what industry is looking for and what entrepreneurship is about. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's probably one of the hardest things because you're starting from scratch. And you have to push against everything. It's usually you're bringing an innovative idea, so you really have to push against all the formalities and the status quo, and that's not easy. But I believe that the strategy that Trinity is proposing over the next 5 years actually really addresses those 3 issues. And I can't wait to see the impact it has on the very lucky graduates that are going to come in through the doors of Trinity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nora, for that really interesting talk. Our next and final speaker is Dr. Patrick Prendergast, Provost and President of Trinity College Dublin.
Thank you very much, Antoinette. Here we are, Community and Connection 2020 to 2025. It has taken many people much time and work to get us here. So, in the first instance, a huge thanks on behalf of the whole college and wider community to everyone who has contributed to the new strategic plan. There are too many contributors to be named individually. A plan like this, cohesive, comprehensive and costed, requires huge input from across the college. Each of the 9 goals has many authors, so to speak. This is, as its title says, a community plan and a connected plan. But overall responsibility for the plan belongs to the College Board under the leadership of the Vice Provost and Chief Academic Officer. So our thanks to the Board and to Juergen Barkhoff and his team and to Chris Morash before him. This plan is a wonderful achievement. A strategic plan lays out a university's manifesto for the next 5 years. It outlines the key goals and the actions needed to achieve them. And when it's a cohesive, comprehensive plan, as this one is, it does much more than that. It says what a university stands for, where it has come from, and where it wants to get to. The first ever of our strategic plans to be named, Community and Connection, proclaims by its title what we stand for. It speaks to our engaged campus community of staff and students, and it radiates outward to our global community of alumni, partner institutions, and industry and creative collaborators. This plan is about connecting research, education, and innovation, which means, of course, connecting people. This plan is notable for its confidence and ambition. That must strike anyone reading it. This confidence and ambition has been earned. All who helped put together Community and Connection were conscious of building on an excellent track record of implementation. Our last strategic plan, 2014 to 2019, was put together in a challenging financial environment when the country was still in recession. It didn't stint on ambition, but it was realistic in its goals. The proof lies in its successful implementation. Among the many actions and goals of the last plan that were successfully delivered, I'd like to highlight membership of LIRU, the small elite league of European research universities, meeting targets for international students, delivering the Trinity Education Project, expanding the Usher assistant professorships, meeting commercial revenue targets, achieving key sustainability goals, global expansion of the Science Gallery network, financing E3, the Engineering, Environment and Emerging Technologies Institute, and building the Trinity Business School. This very building we're in is proof that we can achieve what we set out to do. It's important to take this moment to recognise past achievement because our new strategic plan takes its value from the successful implementation of the last one. We have a track record and we're building on it. Community and Connection is standing on the shoulders of giants. In the final year of the last plan, 2019, we launched Inspiring Generations, one of our key initiatives to embed philanthropy into the DNA of the university. We're delighted with how well it's going. We're on course to exceed our ambitious targets in fundraising and volunteering. When we named this new strategic plan, it was in recognition and praise of the connected global community that has come to our call through Inspiring Generations. In 2014, we envisaged the university that we wanted and the steps we would take to get us there. We made it happen. In dreams begin responsibilities, as Yeats said. Now, here we are in 2020 with Community and Connection, envisaging the university in 2025 and setting up for future generations beyond that. What will this university be like? How will it be different from the university of today? Well, it will be different in a myriad of ways, but let me focus on three major progressions. First, sustainability. We're aligning to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and meeting this challenge will drive all our college activities in education, research, innovation, and life on the campus. In 5 years' time, the Martin Naughton E3 Learning Foundry will be up and running, educating students in a radically different approach to the world's resources. E3 is our flagship project in sustainability, but all disciplines and schools will need to be aligned and involved in delivering the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And globally, we will be working with international partners through alliances like Charm EU. And the campus is going to look different, much greener, wilder, humming with more bees, no disposable plastics in sight. The building's moving towards zero energy, as this one already is. Second, global excellence in education and research and innovation, the three sides of the triangle which are interdependent. If I can single out one policy that will help us achieve this, it's the reduction in the student-staff ratio. We've nailed our colours to the mast here. We don't want to keep growing student numbers unchecked. We seek quality and excellence. To this end, we're hiring new staff to bring the ratio down to 16:1. And third, expanding our presence in Dublin and the world. Our physical expansion along Pier Street has been a huge success, as has the global expansion of our academic partnerships. We will continue to build on this, growing our presence in Dublin and developing our research, education and innovation collaborations with partner institutions around the world. And we will do this in concrete and palpable ways. In 5 years' time, the Trinity St. James Cancer Institute will be established as the country's first comprehensive cancer care centre, a flagship in clinical care, research and education in oncology. And we will have begun developing the new Trinity campus at Grand Canal Quay. This €1 billion research and innovation campus will catalyse an innovation district that will have the potential to propel Dublin into the top 20 innovation cities in the world. The Trinity of 2025 and beyond will be sustainable and excellent, with a strong presence in Dublin and the world. We will achieve this in the same way that we successfully implemented the previous strategic plan. Of course, we can't be completely categorical about this because we can't control what would happen in the world around us. We didn't and couldn't envisage Brexit. We didn't and couldn't envisage that COVID-19 would see us live streaming the launch of this plan rather than congregating hundreds of people to celebrate with us. There's no avoiding events, but bearing up under them is the question of resilience. The brittle snap, the strong and flexible survive. Trinity is nothing if not resilient. We have resilience in our DNA. We've proved it over 428 years of tumultuous history. Faced with a challenge, we don't collapse. We plan, we strategize, we prevail, and we emerge even stronger. My thanks to all, and now to work.